So, could be a tasty one today then, Ant. We've got all the ingredients, that's for sure. Treacherous conditions, an ever-changing racetrack, and one or two cars just behind the pace setters who maybe, just maybe, fancy a bit of an upset after a good performance from them in free practice.
And the question has to be, of course, what is that circuit going to look like in 10 to 15 minutes from now? If you think the rain's going to get worse, then you have to be straight out when the lights go green to find whatever grip you can. But if it eases off, then you're better off waiting, saving the tyres, and going out at the perfect moment.
It won't be easy getting out of this qualifying session, but see what you can do.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're endeavouring on career mode once again. This is the Russian Grand Prix, and as you can see with the weather forecast, we have an interesting race ahead of us. Heavy rain for the next hour or so, and that's going to make qualifying conditions very, very tough indeed. But these kind of conditions at the same time, though, kind of make this McLaren come alive a little bit, though. I will be hoping for some intermediate conditions just to make us that little bit more confident. But here we are in qualifying one. Hopefully, once again, we can get ourselves out of this session, and potentially Fernando can get himself out as well. Here you can see second flying lap, massive, absolutely huge drift through the fast left-hander, and somehow we actually managed to hold on to that. And I was keeping in the throttle as well. I just wanted to keep up as much lap time as I could. I didn't want to sacrifice that by just backing out, and somehow we managed to hold on. But yeah, as you can see, the track conditions are just absolutely appalling. Not much grip really to be found anywhere. Easy to lock up, and as you can see, just really struggling for rear grip at this stage. Again, through the fast left-hander, another little drift, but not quite as bad as the first attempt. Our current lap, though, we're up by 7/10, and we're looking fairly good to improve on this time. Now, as I understand, we should be seeing some pretty big improvements by the end of the session. The track will get drier. I think we might get some intermediate conditions, maybe, just maybe at the end of the session, or possibly into qualifying 2 if we do make it, though. We're currently sitting in P13 as we get another absolutely huge drift on. And yeah, I just continue to keep outdoing myself. This one was the biggest of them all. As you can see, just drifting for like 300 meters there, and still holding on. That was the end of our run. The tyres started to go off there, and decided to bring it back into the pits, calm things down, and just analyze the situation and see where we were losing time. Turns out we were losing time everywhere, in all honesty. I just needed to do more laps in order to get in the groove. That's the thing with these wet sessions. You always need to do as many laps as you can, just to build your speed, whereas the AI, they're just straight on the pace straight away. So yeah, it's always important to do a lot of laps. At the moment we sit P18. I think this is the end of the session pretty much. We're improving by just over 2/10 as we head through the final couple of corners, so we need to be at least P15. We might just get there with a 6/10 improvement as we go across the line. It gets us, I'm not sure, I think it was P15, no, P14. So in the end there, just scraping through to qualifying 2 by about a 10th or so, just behind Fernando, who does make it out of Q1 finally. I feel like he's been in a little bit of a form slump in qualifying as of late, and has really been hampering his championship, but today it looks like we're fairly pacey in the wet conditions. Qualifying 2 now, and pretty much everyone else is on wets, and for some reason the engineer said inters are the tyres to be on, so I was like, okay, let's just jump on them now, get some early laps in and see how we go. We might even see some dry conditions by the end, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. We're currently sitting P4, as it looks like potentially we're best placed out of everyone else on the inters, and just making the most of that. The weather graphic says heavy rain still, but that is definitely not the case as we head out for our final run here in Q2. We're still exactly where we need to be inside the top 10, so with another solid improvement, we might get ourselves closer towards, I don't know, maybe even the top 5. We'll have to wait and see, though, as we go through the final sector. Really important to make sure you minimize the wheel spin. It's so crucial to just getting through this sector really without losing too much time. We're up by over a second as the track has really dried up over the last 5 minutes. We go P8 and we just cross the line to start another lap, so this is really going to help us here in our quest to getting into qualifying 3. P14 at the moment, but we will improve by another full second as we cross the line, and I think we are through to Q3 with an 8th place finishing position there. And yeah, there we go, just squeeze into Q3 by 3/10. Unfortunately, Nando didn't have the rub of the green there. He was one of the first to cross the line and missed out. So we're into Q3 once again, and once again we're looking to challenge. We're improving by 1.6 seconds at the very end of the session, and we go P7. So yeah, I didn't want to show too much of qualifying 3. It was more of the same, just doing laps and laps and laps, and there we go. We got 7th place. We managed to squeeze a couple of positions out there. I was, to be honest, I was happy with 10th place, but to get another further 3 spots is just absolutely awesome. We're right in the mix there with the top 3 teams, best of the midfield, and that's all I could really ask for. So as we head into the race, yeah, we're looking pretty good for some more points. But just going over to the research and development screen, you can see we have 1,000 resource points, and this is what we've been building towards for the last few episodes. You know, upgrades and stuff have been pretty dry in the last few episodes, and this is what we've been working towards. We're not going to go for the downforce, even though we could afford it. We're actually going to go for department efficiency and make future upgrades a little bit cheaper in the way of downforce. So we'll take a little bit of a hit right now in the short term, but in the long term and heading into Season 3, we'll be able to upgrade a little bit faster because all the parts will be cheaper. So yeah, we're playing the long game here. It's going to hurt us now, but yeah, it will work out in the long run. But that's qualifying. Time for the race now for Russia, where hopefully we can, I don't know, if we move forward, then that would be absolutely awesome. But let's see how we do for the race for the Russian Grand Prix.
I'm joined again today by none other than Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, obviously there's a lot of development work that goes on with these cars between the races. You've been both a test driver and a race driver. What differences are there in the way you approach those roles?
Interesting question, Crofty. They're 2 very different mindsets. I mean, when I tested for BAR, we had full in-season testing where, per driver, you'd cover up to 15,000 kilometers per season. And in that role, it was more about working for the team, trying to help them improve the car and drive as systematically as you could, so that that data could be analysed in the most consistent way. When you're lining up on the grid for a race, however, your frame of mind's all about what you can get out of the situation on that day, and the car's the tool to help you achieve what you want. You still want to focus on setup, of course, but it's more about the here and now, getting yourself as far up the field as possible, and less about development work for the future.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
So here we are then for the start of the race for the Russian Grand Prix. We've got an amazing qualifying, so hopefully today we can convert. Unfortunately, there's not going to be too much we can do in the way of strategy, especially in the dry, just the one stop, going from the ultra soft tyres to the supers, and then seeing where we end up from there. So ultimately it's going to be down to race pace and maintaining track position. Like I said, strategy will not come into this at all. So hopefully we can get off to an amazing start, find our way forward in the field, and hopefully maybe a few front runners along the way can have some failures. 5 red lights, and we are underway now for the Russian Grand Prix. The lights always like to hold themselves out for a little while longer than what I anticipate. But heading into turn 1, getting a bit of a push there from Nico Hulkenberg, who gets a nice launch. Heading into turn 2, we're getting a warning for collision. We're getting boxed in as well as we head into turn 2 now, and there's literally nothing we can do. The road ahead was completely blocked, and Hulkenberg got tangled up with Ricciardo there and lost a whole heap of ground there. Grosjean gets in front of him as well, so not been a great start for the German, and we hold on to our starting position of 7th place. So yeah, from here it's going to be awfully tough to continue to move forward. This McLaren Honda is in another league compared to the front runners. We're just not there. So I was really hoping it would rain for this race just to bring us into the fight a little bit. That's not going to be the case. We're just going to have to absolutely push, and I was going flat out for these opening laps in order to build out a little bit of a gap to the cars behind. Grosjean is on the supers and will be holding up the cars behind, so I was using that to my advantage, but at the same time trying to hold on desperately to the slipstream of the cars in front and just hope to get some DRS advantage, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. And yeah, we were basically left in a league of our own, but it didn't take long for Sergio Perez to get past Grosjean and now start attacking me for 7th place in this Grand Prix. That Force India is awfully quick in this F1 2017 game, and it looks like he is awfully quick here in the Russian Grand Prix. So lap 10, we've already gone a third into this race, and now we are finally getting a challenge thrown upon us in the form of Sergio. Tries to go to the outside on the back straight there, doesn't really amount to anything. Through the middle sector though, the car holds out fairly well, and this is why I was thinking this race was going to be pretty good, because our car, chassis-wise, is actually really good, and our pace through the third sector especially is really good, and it kind of rivals the top teams in some ways, and it's just a shame that our car lacks a lot in a straight line, and also lacks downforce, especially through the high and middle speed corners. But as you can see there, getting released for our pit stop, we kind of got released into the path of Sergio Perez there for some reason, and then the game doesn't know what to do, so it just goes to us and lets Sergio go through there. So, bit of a weird moment, but we lose the spot to Perez, unfortunately, in the pit stops, and basically that was the last of him we saw for the rest of the race. I believe his pace was phenomenal, and we had nothing to really answer for there. So, we're now left to hold on to effective P8 in this Grand Prix. We're getting attacked by Hulkenberg once again, who we started alongside at the beginning of the race. And yeah, it's going to be awfully tough to keep him behind. The Renault, though, not as threatening in a straight line, but still, it is a fairly quick car. Definitely rivals the Force India, that's for sure. We have Grosjean, who started on the Supers, is now on the Ultras, and it's going to be the danger man for the last 10 laps of this Russian Grand Prix, given the pace advantage he will have. Now, in terms of the power unit, I haven't really talked about that in the last few episodes, but I think we're on power unit number 2 still. Our gearbox, though, is coming to the end of its working life, and there actually was a patch recently that was announced by Cody's, and they said they have increased the threshold at which you get you know, stuff reliability, so we can actually take this gearbox a little bit further than what we normally would, possibly an extra race or two, so we might just about get away with 6 races done on this gearbox. We'll have to wait and see, though. But this is the onboard with Grosjean, as we were fighting away with Nico Hulkenberg while I was talking about gearboxes and power units and all that kind of thing, and we just managed to hold around the outside there of the Hulk, and yeah, just doing absolutely everything we can to hold on to track position, even though the tyres are starting to fade away a little bit. The rear grip seems to be struggling a little bit, and I just have to manage that ever so slightly. Lap 19, again, another carbon copy of myself and Hulkenberg going side by side into the third sector. It continues onto the main straight, and again, we have to hold around the outside into the first chicane, and looks like we get the position back briefly. But yeah, Hulkenberg is doing an absolute job for me. Yes, I know he's attacking me, but he's also keeping Grosjean away from me with those fresher ultra soft tyres. And actually, as I say that, here comes Grosjean. He dispatched of Hulkenberg, and now he's trying to bang me around the outside. It looks like he might have got it done, though. As we head into the third sector, I tried to sweep around the outside, and thankfully enough, it did work for him there. He was compromised heading into that left-hander. Doesn't take him long, though, to get back in front of me. Grosjean, though, is especially going to be dangerous with that Ferrari power unit and the fresh tyres. He's just going to be faster in all areas, so we have really got our work cut out for us today if we want to get back in front of him. We'll go for a little bit of a dive, a little look up the inside. Grosjean very conveniently locks up the front right tyre at the exact same moment and basically left the door open for us. So that's back into position 8, I believe it is. So, yeah, just absolutely holding on by the skin of the teeth. You can see how many cars there are right behind us. If we make one little slip up, we're absolutely gone. Like, we're out of the points, and that is, you know, all the hard work we've done this race down the drain. That's Jolyon Palmer out of the Grand Prix. He pulled off to the side, and that is his day done. Unfortunately, no safety car to bring us back into the pack, but with that, somehow the Renault got in front of Grosjean again, and now we have Esteban Ocon going up the inside of Grosjean as well, so it's absolutely mad back there in that massive train of cars. Lewis Hamilton has won the Russian Grand Prix pretty convincingly in the end. No one really behind him, pretty much unchallenged, and another GG win to you there, son. For us, though, it's going to be P8. We're making a habit of this now. I think we finished every single race in the points so far in Season 2, and the streak continues. Thank you very much, McLaren Honda.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So there we go. That has been the Russian Grand Prix, and basically just confirmation that we are in the mix in the top 10. You know, just at the top of the midfield, just trying to hold on desperately. Yes, we have to drive the absolute wheels off the car, but it is possible to do that on a normal strategy these days. Unfortunately for Alonso, he just doesn't get the track position that he needs. He's got a decent car under him, but when you're so slow in a straight line, even for me, it is really hard to overtake, and he can't make his way through the field. Especially as well when you get held up by slower cars like Saubers and whatever. Your race time is obviously going to make it look a lot worse than what it is. So Alonso just needs that good quality position to show off what he can do. But in terms of us, though, driver standings are in P8. I think we're equal on points with Sergio Perez on 14. So the battle for 7th is definitely going to be hotly contested this season. That's going to be the aim, to be basically best for the rest. Hopefully our consistency is there, and when we do, mount more upgrades on the car, these results can come a little bit easier for us. But yeah, that has been this episode for today. Hopefully you enjoyed the Russian Grand Prix. We did a very brief little upgrade to the department efficiency, so we don't have anything performance-wise to show for just yet, but in the future, that will make upgrades a little bit easier for us, and we can have a better car overall in terms of downforce coming very, very shortly. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We now have a message from Chris, who has something to report on the R&D.
Hey, got some good news for you. We've been analysing the pace compared to our rivals, and it looks like we'll be very competitive. Keep up the good work.
Well, Chris seems to be pretty happy with things, even though we technically haven't upgraded the car performance-wise in a very long time, since Bahrain was the last time a performance car part went on the car. It feels like so long ago, because as well, in the background, I'm going ahead and recording future episodes as well, so for me, I feel like I haven't made much progress update-wise, so yeah, I'm getting a little bit impatient, but hopefully things should start coming their way very shortly. We've got some exciting races coming up: Spain, Monaco, Canada. They should all be very fruitful races for us in terms of getting results. Canada is a surprise one, which you wouldn't really expect, but I feel like it would play to the benefits of our car chassis-wise, because there's not really many high-speed corners there. We just have to run really low downforce in order to be competitive there. But heading into the next few races, at least, we should be seeing more points, and yeah, that's just where I think we're at. We just got to continue to get these points and get the resource points as well to continue the development forward. So yeah, this career mode is absolutely a massive marathon right now, and it's going to take a lot of work, but we will get there eventually, and hopefully set ourselves up for Season 3 to win the title. So ambitious, but I think hopefully we can get there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Until the next race, the Spanish Grand Prix, I'll see you guys next time.